For more discussion and analysis, I'd like to welcome from London Dr. Marcos Papadopoulos, expert on international relations and specialized in the Middle East affairs. Hello, Doctor. We're so happy you're joining us. A lot of changes happening in the British government and for the Prime Minister happened in the last years, especially after Britain left the EU. What are the main reasons behind this resignation this time?
What I'm about to say may surprise, indeed shock your audience, but it will neither surprise nor shock the British people. So, Britain is not a democracy. Instead, Britain is a tyranny. Keir Starmer, Andy Burnham, the leaders of the opposition parties, and practically all members of the British Parliament are controlled by the British ruling elite. They are puppets. They are useful idiots. Keir Starmer was told by his masters in the British ruling elite to resign. Allow me to explain further. Starmer, Burnham, the leaders of the opposition parties and almost all members of the Parliament in the United Kingdom fundamentally believe in the same thing. So, they are all Zionists. They all support immigration. They all support multiculturalism. They all support the replacement of the British people. They all support the destruction of British culture. They all support LGBTQ. They all support gay marriage and gay adoption. They all support child mutilation. They all support puberty blockers for children. They all support NATO. They are all anti-Russia. They are all anti-Iran. They are all associated with the World Economic Forum. They all support a cashless society. They all support digital ID. The list goes on and on and on. That is why, as I said, these people are puppets. They are useful idiots of the British ruling elite. The fact that Starmer has resigned is of no importance whatsoever because he had no power. He was given a job to do by the British ruling elite, and that job was a brutal one. The British ruling elite are at war with the British people. If Andy Burnham is to succeed Keir Starmer, that is because the British ruling elite have prepared the way for him to become Prime Minister and to continue the agenda. Andy Burnham is not intelligent. Andy Burnham knows very little about politics. He is a non-entity. So how can it be that all of a sudden, even though he has just returned to the British Parliament, how can it be that he's on the verge of becoming Prime Minister? It is because the British ruling elite understood that Starmer had become very damaged and therefore they need a new person, a new face to continue with the agenda. So no one should believe that Starmer's resignation means anything.
Points in particular related to the British institution and democracy in Britain, one of the oldest democracies in the whole world. But when you speak here about the mechanism of a choice or the election process, so how can we describe these changes in the last years? In particular, we have seen this happen since Britain has left the EU with economic problems, and right now we are speaking about another problem in this institution itself. So do you think this space or this description have already been there even before Britain leave the UK, or is this something new?
Please don't attach too much importance to Britain and the European Union. Yes, most British people are opposed to the European Union. Why? because that means Britain loses independence, it loses sovereignty. It means that the Supreme Court in the United Kingdom is not supreme. It means that the British Parliament is not supreme. However, the British ruling elite and the European Union are two sides of the same coin. The European Union is one of numerous weapons that the Western ruling elites as a whole have. Yes, it is true that there was a time when Britain possessed elements of a democracy, but that has all changed, certainly in the last 25 to 30 years. Britain is no longer a democracy. Britain is no longer a parliamentary democracy. Britain does not have a free or independent media.
I got your point, sir. I would like to ask you a final question, but please answer briefly. How can these developments affect the British position on the international issues for Britain in the next period?
There will be no change in policy. If Andy Burnham becomes Prime Minister, or if Wes Streeting, another Labour MP, becomes Prime Minister, there will be no change. On the international stage, you will see that Burnham will support Ukraine, that Burnham will support Israel, that Burnham will be anti-Russia, that Burnham will be anti-Iran, that Burnham will support the World Economic Forum, that Burnham will talk about so-called climate change, and so on and so on. What I am saying now would never be tolerated on British mainstream news. They would never have me on. But the most important thing is that the British people understand that Britain is not a democracy and the ruling elite have gone to war with them. So it makes no difference who is in 10 Downing Street. What is the most important thing is that the British people understand who the ruling elite is and who their useful idiots are.
Thank you so much from London, Mr. Marcos Papadopoulos, expert on international relations and specialized on the Middle East affairs.